Hello friends, thank you very much for joining me in this Chalk Talk series of identity security for AI agents. Every organization today is building agents and it's important for them to secure and govern them. Well, to effectively secure and govern agents, it's also important to find them and find them at scale. This Chalk Talk explains you what are the different means, mechanisms and sources from where you can find these agents. Let's get started. The first and the foremost one are all your different low code, pro code, and no code platforms where agents are getting built, whether it is Agent Core, Foundry, Vertex AI, or even Crew AI, LangChain, Llama Index kind of a platforms. This is where a lot of these agents are getting built. The second and very important ones are your compute, your endpoint layer. Your agents are getting built on Linux and Windows workstations. Your agents are also getting built and deployed on servers, virtual machines, Kubernetes clusters. This become a big compute layer where your developers, your engineers are running and deploying your agents. Another important one from where you can find where your agents are running are your logs. For example, you can look at your VPC flow logs, you can look at CloudTrail, VNet, or any kind of other cloud logging information to figure out the traffic, the patterns from where your agent are initiating and talking to your external and internal systems. The fourth one, and a very interesting one, is your service identity layer. Look for all your API keys, tokens, even OAuth clients to figure out where your agents are talking and how they are invoking these transactions. The other layer could be your servers and resources like MCP, proxies, gateways, through which your agentic transactions are also routed, and that also becomes a very key aspect of identifying where your agent transactions are running. And last but not the least, your IDPs, the Oktas and the Entra IDs of the world, which issue agent identities, can also become a key source for you to figure out where your agents are running. Now, as you define and understand what your landscape looks like, the first and the foremost step in this is to gather the information and build what we call it as a unified agent and NHI inventory, or non-human identities inventory. Once you have this inventory, the first and the foremost thing what you should be doing is feeding that to an access analyzer. The access analyzer creates your entitlement graphs, your data access graphs, which allows organizations to figure out what the agent blast radius looks like and where exactly do you have risks in your access paths. Once you have the access analyzer done, the next big thing what you do is you feed this into a timeline view. This is a very, very important view because it allows you to understand the drift which has happened in your agents. It also explains you all the anomalies and behavioral analysis to be done with your agents to understand which of them are rogue agents. And once you have the timeline view, the last part in this view is to feed that into a risk engine. Now, in a risk engine, you also need inputs from two other sources. One being an IGA system, as well as you get feeds from SIM and SOAR systems as well. So in risk engine, the first thing what you do is you do a bunch of policy evals or evaluations to understand where exactly your agents are violating your security policies. Two, you do threat modeling. And last but not the least, you also try to find and correlate all your risk findings associated with this. So at this point of time, you understand where your agents are running. You have created an inventory. You understand what kind of access your agents have, what are they doing with that access, and what risk do you have with these agents. This allows you to give a business view of creating your first thing, which is posture dashboards, which are ready to be consumed by identity and security teams to ensure that they understand where your risk and what the posture of your agents look like in a continuous manner. That's number one. Number two is you start alerting and notifying the respective teams to start taking actions on this. Last but not the least, the two other aspects here are your risk findings and remediations of this risk. And furthermore, you map all of this to your audit and compliance dashboards, to the different frameworks which are prescribed by the industry, like the top OWASP, top 10 remediations, as well as mapping it to CIS, NIST, and other standards as well. And at the end of the day, organizations can create a layer of agentic workflows which allows any identity, any security practitioner to talk to all this data, consume it, have a conversational experience, and make it very easy to be consumed and share it with their peers as well as to the higher ups. So at the end of the day, friends, if you strategize to figure out your agentic landscape with a schematic and the view like this, you will be able to find your agents running on your integration surface and compute surface at scale, allowing you to have an effective and scalable posture management for your agents. Thank you very much for joining me in this Chalk Talk. The next one is going to be all about when you have found your AI agents, how do you determine what are these agents doing at runtime? How can you effectively monitor? How can you effectively understand if they are deviating from what they were supposed to do? So stay tuned for that. Thank you once again. I hope this was useful.